Long ago, in a world filled with magic and wonder, there was a kingdom called Eldoria. Eldoria was known for its beautiful landscapes, lush forests, and towering mountains. The people of Eldoria lived in harmony, guided by wise rulers and protected by brave warriors. However, what many did not know was that a dark shadow loomed over their peaceful land. In the heart of Eldoria, there was an ancient temple, hidden deep within the misty woods. This temple was home to a powerful prophecy that had been forgotten over time. It was said that this prophecy foretold the rise of a hero who would save the kingdom from a great evil. But as generations passed, the tale faded into myths, and the temple fell into disrepair. One fateful day, a young girl named Lyra stumbled upon the temple while exploring the woods. Lyra was adventurous, with bright eyes and a heart full of curiosity. She had heard stories of the temple but never imagined she would find it. As she entered the temple, she was struck by the sight before her. The walls were covered in intricate carvings, telling stories of heroes and battles long forgotten. Dust floated in the air, and a feeling of magic hung thick around her. As Lyra explored deeper into the temple, she discovered a hidden chamber. Inside, she found a massive stone tablet engraved with strange symbols. Drawn by an invisible force, she approached the tablet. Suddenly, a warm light enveloped her, and she felt a surge of energy flow through her body. Lyra had awakened something ancient and powerful. In that moment, the forgotten prophecy came to life. The tablet revealed the story of an ancient evil that would rise again to threaten Eldoria. This darkness had been sealed away centuries ago by a group of brave warriors, but it was destined to return. The prophecy spoke of a hero who would wield a powerful artifact known as the Crystal of Light, a source of hope and strength. Only this hero could unite the kingdoms and banish the darkness for good. Overwhelmed by what she had seen, Lyra realized she was chosen for a great destiny. But she was just a simple girl with no training in combat or magic. Doubts filled her mind. How could she, someone so ordinary, be the hero spoken of in the prophecy? Just then, a voice echoed in the chamber, soft yet strong. "Believe in yourself, young one. The strength you seek lies within." Encouraged by the mysterious voice, Lyra made a decision. She would not turn away from her fate. Instead, she would seek out the Crystal of Light and learn the skills needed to protect her kingdom. But first, she needed to gather information and allies. She rushed back to her village, her heart racing with excitement and fear. When Lyra arrived in the village, she shared her discovery with her closest friend, Arik. Arik was brave and loyal, always ready for an adventure. He listened intently as Lyra told him about the prophecy and the ancient evil. Together, they discussed their next steps. They needed to find out more about the Crystal of Light and how to unlock its power. The two friends decided to visit the village elder, a wise woman named Mira. Mira had lived for many years and knew the history of Eldoria like the back of her hand. When they approached her cottage, Lyra felt a mix of hope and anxiety. Would Mira believe their tale? As they entered the cottage, the smell of herbs and spices filled the air. Mira sat by the window, knitting a colorful blanket. When she saw Lyra and Arik, her eyes sparkled with warmth. Lyra took a deep breath and began to explain everything. To her surprise, Mira nodded knowingly, her expression serious. "The prophecy has not been forgotten," she said softly. "It has only been waiting for the right time to resurface. You, Lyra, are destined to play a crucial role in our fate." Mira shared the legends of the Crystal of Light and the warriors who once protected Eldoria. With Mira's guidance, Lyra and Arik prepared for their journey ahead. They knew the path would be dangerous, filled with challenges they could not yet imagine. But they were determined to uncover the truth and protect their beloved kingdom. As they gathered supplies and made their plans, Lyra felt a newfound sense of purpose. She was no longer just a curious girl, she was the bearer of a great prophecy, ready to face whatever awaited her in the shadows. The adventure was only beginning, and the fate of Eldoria rested in her hands. With their hearts set on a great adventure, Lyra and Arik began their journey to find the Crystal of Light. They gathered supplies, including food, water, and a few essential tools for their quest. Before leaving the village, they sought Mira's advice one last time. The elder warned them that the path ahead would be filled with dangers, but she also reassured them that bravery and friendship would be their greatest strengths. As the sun rose high in the sky, casting golden rays over the fields, Lyra and Arik set off toward the misty woods, where the temple lay hidden. They followed a narrow path that wound through the thick trees, the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves surrounding them. The excitement of the journey filled their hearts, but so did the fear of the unknown. After hours of walking, they reached the edge of a vast clearing. In the center stood a towering mountain known as the Shadow Peak. According to the legends, the Crystal of Light was hidden somewhere near its summit, guarded by powerful creatures that tested the worthiness of those who dared to approach. The mountain loomed ominously, and the friends felt a chill run down their spines. "We can do this, right?" Arik asked, trying to hide his nervousness. "I mean, how hard can it be?" Lyra nodded, though doubt crept into her mind. "We have to be careful. We don't know what's up there." As they began to climb the rocky path, they soon found themselves surrounded by thick mist. The air grew colder and the visibility dropped. It felt as though the mountain itself was alive, watching their every move. After climbing for some time, they encountered a strange creature blocking their path. It was large and fierce, with glowing eyes and sharp claws. The creature growled low, warning them to turn back. Lyra and Arik exchanged worried glances. They were just two kids from a small village, not warriors or heroes. Could they truly face such a beast? "Stay calm," Lyra whispered to Arik, her heart pounding in her chest. "We can't show fear." The creature stepped forward, its eyes narrowing. "Why have you come to this mountain?" it asked, its voice deep and rumbling. "You are not worthy. You do not belong here." Lyra took a deep breath. "We seek the Crystal of Light to protect our kingdom from an ancient evil. We believe we can find it and learn to be the heroes of the prophecy." The creature paused, its expression shifting from anger to curiosity. "You seek the crystal, yet you are just children. Many have tried to claim it, but they have all failed. What makes you think you will succeed?" Lyra felt a surge of determination. "We may be young, but we are brave. We believe in our cause and will not back down. We are willing to face any challenge to save Eldoria." The creature studied them for a long moment. "Bravery alone is not enough. You must prove your worthiness. If you can pass my tests, I will allow you to continue. But if you fail, you must leave this mountain forever." Arik looked at Lyra, fear flickering in his eyes. "What kind of tests?" he asked nervously. The creature smiled, revealing sharp teeth. "You will face 3 challenges: strength, wisdom, and courage. Only those who pass all 3 may approach the crystal." With a mix of fear and excitement, Lyra and Arik accepted the challenge. They were determined to prove themselves, even if the creature underestimated them. The first challenge was strength. The creature led them to a large boulder, twice their size. "Lift it," it commanded. "Show me your power." Lyra and Arik exchanged glances, unsure of how they would lift such a heavy stone. They approached the boulder together, pushing with all their might. To their surprise, they managed to lift it just enough to wobble it slightly. "Not bad," the creature said, impressed. "You may have some strength after all." But it was only the beginning. The second challenge tested their wisdom. The creature asked them a riddle. "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?" Lyra thought hard. She remembered a story her mother used to tell her about the whispers of the wind. "An echo," she exclaimed. The creature nodded, its eyes sparkling with approval. "Well done. You are wiser than I expected." Finally, it was time for the last challenge: courage. The creature brought them to the edge of a steep cliff overlooking a dark abyss. "Jump," it commanded. "Show me your courage." Lyra's heart raced at the thought of jumping into the unknown. She hesitated, fear gripping her. But then she looked at Arik, who gave her an encouraging nod. Together, they took a deep breath and leaped into the air. As they fell, Lyra felt a rush of adrenaline. In that moment, she realized that sometimes true courage meant taking a leap of faith. The two landed safely on a soft patch of moss below, and the creature roared with approval. "You have passed my tests. You are worthy to continue your quest for the Crystal of Light." Relief washed over Lyra and Arik. They had proven themselves despite their initial fears. With newfound confidence, they climbed higher up the mountain, ready to face whatever awaited them next. Little did they know, the journey was far from over, and greater challenges lay ahead. After proving their worthiness to the creature on Shadow Peak, Lyra and Arik felt a surge of confidence. They were determined to reach the Crystal of Light and learn its secrets. As they climbed higher, the mist began to clear, revealing a breathtaking view of Eldoria below. The kingdom looked peaceful, but Lyra's heart was heavy with the knowledge of the darkness that threatened it. At last, they reached a large, flat area at the top of the mountain. In the center stood a magnificent crystal, glowing with a brilliant light. It pulsated with energy, casting colorful beams that danced across the ground. Lyra and Arik approached it cautiously, awe-struck by its beauty. "Is this really it?" Arik whispered, unable to take his eyes off the crystal. "Can it truly help us?" "I believe so," Lyra replied, stepping closer. As she reached out to touch the crystal, a wave of warmth washed over her, filling her with strength and clarity. Suddenly, a powerful voice resonated around them. "You have come seeking the crystal of light," it boomed. "To wield its power, you must first understand the responsibility that comes with it." The voice belonged to an ancient spirit, guardian of the crystal. It appeared as a shimmering figure made of light. Lyra felt both excited and scared. "What must we do?" she asked bravely. "You must prepare for the battle that is to come," the spirit replied. "A dark force is rising, seeking to consume your world. The time has come for you to embrace your destiny and fight for Eldoria." The spirit explained that the darkness was led by a powerful sorcerer named Malakar, who had long been sealed away. With the prophecy awakening, he sought to break free and reclaim his power. Lyra and Arik listened intently, realizing the weight of their mission. "The crystal of light will amplify your abilities," the spirit continued. "But you must learn to use it wisely. You will face Malakar and his minions in a battle that will determine the fate of your kingdom." With determination in their hearts, Lyra and Arik accepted their new roles as protectors of Eldoria. The spirit guided them in harnessing the power of the crystal. Lyra felt a rush of energy flow through her, awakening her hidden strengths. Arik, too, discovered newfound skills that he never knew he possessed. As they practiced, the air around them crackled with energy. They learned to channel the crystal's power, creating shields of light and powerful blasts that could drive back darkness. Hours passed, but it felt like mere minutes. Lyra and Arik were eager to prove themselves. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. The spirit's voice grew urgent. "Malakar's forces are approaching. You must be ready." Lyra and Arik steadied themselves, hearts pounding with fear and excitement. They looked down the mountain and saw a dark cloud forming in the distance, moving closer with alarming speed. From this cloud emerged shadowy figures, creatures twisted by Malakar's dark magic, ready to spread chaos across Eldoria. "Let's go," Lyra shouted, her voice full of determination. They raced down the mountain, the crystal glowing brightly in Lyra's hands. As they reached the bottom, they could see the creatures marching toward the village, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The villagers were panicking, unsure of how to defend themselves. Lyra and Arik rushed to the center of the village, where they found Mira preparing to organize the townsfolk. "You're back!" she exclaimed, her eyes widening at the sight of the glowing crystal. "What's happening?" "Malakar's minions are here," Lyra explained quickly. "We need to unite and fight back. We can use the power of the crystal to protect everyone." Mira nodded, rallying the villagers. "Listen, everyone. Lyra and Arik have come back with knowledge and strength. We must stand together against this darkness." With fear still present, the villagers began to arm themselves with whatever they could find: sticks, tools, and even makeshift weapons. Lyra and Arik encouraged them, reminding everyone that they were not alone in this fight. As the shadowy creatures approached, Lyra raised the crystal high above her head. "Together we can defeat them," she shouted, feeling the warmth of the crystal surge through her. The villagers formed a line, standing shoulder to shoulder, their determination shining bright against the approaching darkness. The first wave of creatures lunged at them, but Lyra and Arik stepped forward. "Now!" Lyra cried, and together they unleashed a powerful beam of light from the crystal. The energy shot forth, illuminating the battlefield and striking the first few creatures, causing them to dissolve into shadows. Arik joined in, summoning a shield of light around the villagers, protecting them from the dark creatures that lunged forward. The air crackled with energy as Lyra and Arik combined their powers, pushing back against the oncoming wave. "Keep fighting!" Lyra encouraged the villagers, her voice strong and steady. "We can't let them take our home!" As the battle raged on, more creatures appeared, filling the village with chaos. But the villagers fought bravely, inspired by Lyra and Arik's courage. The air was filled with sounds of clashing and shouts, but amidst the chaos, Lyra felt a sense of unity among her people. Just then, the ground shook again as a larger creature emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with malice. It was a monstrous beast. a guardian of Malachar sent to crush anyone who dared to oppose his reign. Fear gripped Lyra's heart, but she remembered the spirit's words about responsibility and bravery. "This is our chance!" Lyra shouted to Auric. "Together we can take it down!" With determination, they stood side by side, channeling the power of the crystal. The light radiated from them, bright and fierce, as they focused on the massive creature. "Now!" Lyra called, and they released their combined energy in one powerful blast. The beam of light struck the creature, illuminating the dark sky as it howled in pain. The villagers rallied around Lyra and Auric, emboldened by their bravery. With each pulse of the crystal, they pushed back against the darkness, refusing to give in. As the battle continued, Lyra realized they were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for their entire kingdom. The crystal of light was not just a weapon, it was a symbol of hope. In that moment, she understood that their strength lay in their unity and determination. The Battle of Eldoria had begun, and Lyra and Auric were at the forefront, ready to defend their home against the encroaching darkness. The battle raged on, and Lyra felt the adrenaline coursing through her veins. With each pulse of the crystal, she and Auric fought back against Malachar's dark forces. But they knew this was only the beginning. They were holding their ground, but the overwhelming tide of shadowy creatures continued to press forward. Suddenly, amid the chaos, a loud roar echoed through the air, sending shivers down Lyra's spine. The monstrous creature they had struck earlier now loomed before them, its eyes burning with fury. It charged toward the villagers, and in that moment, Lyra realized they needed a new plan. "Auric, we have to draw it away from the others," Lyra shouted over the noise of the battle. "Are you sure?" Auric asked, his eyes wide with concern. "What if we get hurt?" "We have to protect everyone," Lyra replied firmly, her heart racing. They exchanged a quick look of understanding, and together they sprinted toward the creature, determined to distract it. As they approached, Lyra raised the crystal high above her head, its light shining brighter than ever. "Hey, over here!" she yelled, trying to get the creature's attention. The beast paused, turning its massive head toward them. With a fierce roar, it lunged, and Lyra and Auric dashed to the side, narrowly avoiding its razor-sharp claws. "This way!" Lyra urged, leading the creature away from the village and into the dense trees. They weaved through the woods, the ground shaking beneath them as the creature followed. Lyra's heart raced with fear, but she was also fueled by a determination to protect her home. Finally, they reached a clearing where the sunlight broke through the trees, illuminating the area. "Now!" Lyra shouted. She and Auric positioned themselves side by side, channeling the crystal's energy. They focused their combined strength into one powerful blast, aimed straight at the beast. The beam of light struck the creature, and for a moment it seemed as if the light would overcome the darkness. The creature howled, its body writhing in agony as the light pushed it back. But just as they thought they were winning, the beast unleashed a wave of dark energy, knocking them both off their feet. Lyra hit the ground hard, the air knocked from her lungs. She looked up to see Auric struggling to get back on his feet. "Lyra, are you okay?" he called, concern etched on his face. "I'm fine," she gasped, shaking off the pain. "We have to keep fighting." As they stood together, panting and battered, the creature prepared for another attack. Just then, the ancient spirit of the crystal appeared before them, its voice echoing with urgency. "You must unite your hearts and minds. The true power of the crystal lies in your bond." Lyra and Auric exchanged a glance, understanding dawning upon them. They had been relying solely on the crystal's power, but it was their friendship and shared determination that would truly make a difference. "We need to work together," Auric said, determination in his voice. "Let's combine our strength and our hearts." Nodding fiercely, Lyra took Auric's hand. They closed their eyes, focusing on their bond and the love they had for their village and each other. As they united their energy, the crystal began to glow brighter than ever before, radiating a golden light that pierced through the darkness. With renewed strength, they opened their eyes and faced the monstrous creature. "This is for Eldoria," they shouted in unison, releasing their combined energy in one magnificent burst. The light surged forward, engulfing the creature in a dazzling display. It howled in despair, the shadows around it dissipating as the light grew stronger. Lyra and Auric felt the power of their connection push them forward, amplifying their abilities like never before. But in that moment, something unexpected happened. As the creature disintegrated into shimmering particles, a dark energy surged back toward Lyra and Arik, attempting to pull them into the abyss. Lyra felt herself being drawn away, and panic gripped her heart. "Arik!" she cried, clutching his hand tightly. "Don't let go!" "I won't!" he shouted back, his voice filled with determination. But the darkness was relentless, threatening to tear them apart. Suddenly, Lyra remembered Mira's words about sacrifice. "Arik, we have to let go of the crystal," she said, realizing what they needed to do. "But we need it!" Arik protested, confusion in his eyes. "It's the only way to stop the darkness. If we hold on, we won't survive," Lyra explained urgently. "We must sacrifice it to save our home." Arik's expression changed as he understood. "You're right. For Eldoria." With a final nod, they released their hold on the crystal. It floated in the air, glowing brighter than ever before. Lyra and Arik watched in awe as the light expanded, filling the clearing with warmth and hope. As the darkness closed in around them, the crystal exploded into a brilliant burst of energy, pushing back the shadows and illuminating the entire forest. Lyra felt a wave of peace wash over her, knowing they had made the right choice. The creature was defeated, and the darkness began to retreat. But the explosion had taken its toll. Lyra and Arik fell to the ground, exhausted and breathless. They had sacrificed the crystal, the source of their power, but they had saved their village. As they lay there, catching their breath, the ancient spirit appeared before them once more. "You have shown great courage and sacrifice," it said, its voice gentle. "The crystal's power now lives on in you, as you are its true guardians." Lyra and Arik exchanged glances, a sense of understanding passing between them. They had grown stronger through their trials, and they would continue to protect Eldoria together. With the darkness pushed back for now, they stood, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They knew that as long as they stood united, they could overcome anything. "Let's go home," Lyra said, a smile breaking through her exhaustion. "We have a kingdom to protect." Together they made their way back through the forest, filled with hope for the future. The battle was only the beginning, but they had proven that friendship and sacrifice could light even the darkest of paths. The sun rose over Eldoria, casting a warm glow across the land, but the victory celebration felt bittersweet. Lyra and Arik stood together, watching as the villagers began to rebuild after the fierce battle. The scars of war were still fresh, but a sense of hope filled the air. They had defended their home, but the threat of the Dark Empire still lingered. As they surveyed the damage, a messenger rushed toward them, breathless and wide-eyed. "Lyra! Arik! You need to come quickly!" he shouted, waving his arms. "The Empire is retreating." Lyra's heart raced at the news. "What do you mean? Are they really leaving?" she asked, her voice filled with disbelief. "Yes! The scouts reported that the dark creatures are pulling back. It seems that your battle with the beast weakened their forces," the messenger exclaimed, excitement bubbling in his voice. Arik exchanged a glance with Lyra, his eyes filled with hope. "This could be our chance to push them back for good," he said, gripping her hand tightly. Without hesitation, they followed the messenger to the village square, where the elders had gathered. The atmosphere buzzed with a mix of excitement and uncertainty. The leaders were discussing their next steps, and Lyra and Arik quickly joined the conversation. "We need to capitalize on their retreat," one elder said, his brow furrowed in thought. "But we must be careful. We cannot underestimate them again." Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady and strong. "We have a chance to chase them away from Eldoria once and for all. We can gather the villagers and form a united front." The elders exchanged glances, weighing her words. "You speak wisely, Lyra," another elder replied. "But we need to prepare. We cannot rush into this without a plan." As they began to strategize, Lyra felt a surge of determination. She knew that they had fought hard to protect their home, and now they had an opportunity to rid themselves of the Empire's threat for good. "We should send scouts to follow their movements," she suggested. "We need to know where they are going and how to stop them." Arik nodded in agreement. "And we can train the villagers to fight alongside us. We need everyone ready to defend our home." The elders accepted their plan, and soon the village was filled with activity. Lyra and Arik led the villagers in, preparing for the battle ahead. They trained together, learning to fight as one cohesive unit. Every day they grew stronger, their spirits lifted by the promise of freedom from the Dark Empire. As the days passed, news of the Empire's retreat spread across the land. The villagers grew more confident, fueled by the hope of a brighter future. They worked together, rebuilding their homes and fortifying their defenses. Lyra could see the strength of their community shining through, and it filled her with pride. One evening, as they gathered around a fire to rest after a long day of training, Lyra felt the weight of her responsibilities. "What if we fail?" she asked, glancing at Auric, who was sitting beside her. He took her hand in his expression earnest. "We won't fail. We've come too far and fought too hard. And no matter what happens, we have each other." His words reassured her, and she smiled. "You're right. Together we can face anything." The next day, they received word from the scouts. The Empire was regrouping on the outskirts of the forest, but their numbers were dwindling. It was now or never. The villagers gathered at dawn, their faces set with determination. Lyra felt the weight of their hopes resting on her shoulders, but she knew they could not falter. As they marched toward the enemy, Lyra could hear the sound of their heartbeat in unison. They were no longer just villagers. They were a united force, ready to protect their home. Auric walked beside her, his presence a comforting reminder that they were in this together. When they reached the clearing where the Empire had set up camp, Lyra felt a surge of adrenaline. The air was thick with tension, and she could see the dark figures moving among the trees. "Remember, we fight for each other for Eldoria," she shouted, rallying the troops. With a loud battle cry, they charged into the clearing, catching the enemy off guard. The dark creatures scrambled to defend themselves, but Lyra and her friends were ready. They fought bravely, their unity shining through as they worked together to push back the invading forces. As the battle raged on, Lyra spotted Malachar in the distance, his eyes blazing with fury. She felt a rush of anger and determination. "We need to take down their leader," she yelled to Auric, who nodded, his expression fierce. They charged toward Malachar, weaving through the chaos. With each step, Lyra felt the power of the crystal within her, fueling her strength. Malachar turned to face them, a wicked grin spreading across his face. "You think you can defeat me? I am the darkness that devours worlds," he sneered, raising his hands to summon more shadowy creatures. "No!" Lyra shouted, raising her hand to channel the power of the crystal. "You will not harm my people anymore!" With a burst of light, she unleashed a wave of energy toward Malachar. He staggered back, momentarily blinded by the brilliance. Auric seized the opportunity, lunging forward to strike with all his might. The darkness around Malachar began to falter, his grip on the shadows weakening. Lyra and Auric worked in tandem, their bond giving them strength. With one final push, they combined their powers, unleashing a surge of light that engulfed Malachar. The Dark Leader howled in rage and desperation as the light consumed him. "No! This cannot be!" he cried, but it was too late. The shadows that had once clung to him shattered, and in a brilliant flash he was gone. As the last echoes of battle faded, a stunned silence fell over the clearing. The remaining dark creatures fled, scattering into the forest. The villagers erupted into cheers, their victory resounding through the trees. Lyra and Auric stood in the midst of it all, breathless but triumphant. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. Together, they had proven that love and friendship could overcome even the greatest of evils. With the Empire in retreat, Lyra looked around at her fellow villagers, their faces filled with joy and relief. "We did it!" she exclaimed, her heart swelling with pride. "Eldoria is safe!" Auric wrapped his arms around her, grinning widely. "This is just the beginning. We'll keep fighting to protect our home together." As the sun set on Eldoria, the sky painted in hues of orange and pink, Lyra felt a sense of peace wash over her. They had fought for their home and won. The Dark Empire had been pushed back, and with each new day they would continue to stand strong against whatever challenges lay ahead. In that moment, Lyra knew that as long as they had each other, there was nothing they couldn't face. The Empire's retreat marked the start of a new chapter for Eldoria, a future filled with hope, friendship, and the promise of brighter days.